Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Let's go ahead and get into the second half of Siege of the Empire. Turn it on and leave appropriately. How are the players here?
Oh, man. So I say we have Alan.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, friends.
Yay!
So
So-
things went crazy.
Yep. Things
On both
things go crazy.
sides.
As per
Say nothing to her yet.
usual. Also, by the way,
Traitor.
is my mic okay? By the way, because when I replugged it and everything.
Yeah, it sounds fine.
When I got back home. Okay, cool.
Sounds better than it did last time, that's for sure.
Yeah, it should 100 times better.
Need to fix your vision because you're not that thing anymore. Okay, so
Also, just for the record, I feel like it's my duty as a Canadian to point out that it's a French word and it's pronounced flamberge.
is it flamberge?
Yes.
Flamberge.
There we go. A definitive kind of answer to my question. Thank you.
What other way did you think it was pronounced?
I mean, there's your way, there's also Flamberg.
Really? Yeah, I could see that.
What is that in reference to?
Nothing.
It's kind of large sword.
The weapon,
Okay, all right, sure. I'll just go with that.
It's, you remember the weapon I described for the Lady of the Lake that she carries into combat?
Sure, yeah.
The giant two-handed sword that is not straight, it's wavy in pattern.
And apparently it's pronounced a bunch of different ways.
Flamberge.
French.
It's French.
Got it.
Yes.
We've
Like,
determined
it's-
that.
It's French for a wavy sword.
French.
Basically?
It's French. So you have left combat all of the people in here. You'll notice there's a lot less on the map. I just started deleting them when they passed their saving throws. Because it was easier.
Sure, I'm glad.
yeah,
Um,
we single-handedly slaughtered over half of them.
Like, what?
To be
I
fair,
personally led the executions. Heretics. All of them.
to be
That's
fair,
right.
Farron did stab one.
Well,
Tried to.
And also they dealt you a significant amount of damage actually. Most of the damage you have taken actually was from them and not from the other thing that may or may not have appeared. So
What?
so I think that it is appropriate to start with Aelin, your eyes open and you're on your knees, kind of on the ground. And Daniela is helping you to your feet.
Daniela, I must have blacked out. What happened? Is everyone okay?
She kind of looks perhaps a bit grim, and she doesn't really answer you, and kind of just guides you over to the chair behind you, to sit you down.
Daniela, I'm quite all right. What's going on?
And Farron and Morel, I assume that you approach at this time, right?
Yeah.
most definitely.
Oi.
Is there anything going on with the locked door?
So that's my question to you in a moment, Jericho. I want to see how these
Okay.
two react to Aelin first.
Oi, Aelin, if you could have gone that powerful, then perhaps you should have done that a bit sooner.
Yeah, as soon as you say that, you get to punch the arm Baron.
What on earth are you talking about? And then all of a sudden it dawns on her, and she's looks at Daniela, and she's like, oh goddess, did it not again? She just stutters.
Yeah, and I think you can see the blood and ichor running off of her greatsword, and she just kind of nods and kind of looks swearingly at the people standing around.
Aelin just goes really quiet. What? Well, And she kind of like looks around to see the people. Are they still there? Are they
So
gone?
yeah, none of the people appear to be injured. There's one that has a limp.
Okay.
But none of them appear to be mortally wounded or anything like that. Most of them are kind of just like lying, and they're doing that thing where like after you come out of like you've all woken up out of some deep dream state, and everybody's like trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
All feeling very exhausted today, imagine.
Right.
From doing the thing they've been doing for however many days.
Right, yeah, and so like there are probably a couple that are like kind of whimpering in pain now, right? From performing their vices for, weeks.
Well, it seems like everyone is okay. Yes? She's kind of saying that to anyone who will answer.
Although, it seems a lot of our adversaries managed to slip away before we dealt a finishing blow, but
Cowards.
yes, there's been no loss of life for our side.
Good. Yeah, good. She just kind of like puts her hand on her head and puts her elbow on her knee, clearly weary.
And I think Daniela probably says, she's like, where is the other one? The one that talks. Jericho is his name.
Okay, rude.
And I think that's probably where we see Jericho. So are you gonna like make a couple of attempts to...
Yeah, so the door was successfully barred and barricaded, and he's not going to have further chance to try to meddle with that from his side.
No, you absolutely can. But I think it's not sleight of hand anymore, because you're not trying to... It's not a time crunch anymore. It's whether or not you can do it without that person or thing inside noticing. So go ahead and roll me a stealth check to see how successful you are at getting it done without...
Well, actually, first, can I hear anything else going on inside the room?
So yeah, so probably after a couple of you hear like the scraping and the desk kind of gets slammed up against. You hear a couple more things kind of get like pushed up against the door. And I think that perhaps through the door, and I'm keeping your 29 because you haven't done anything else significant to affect that. You hear like a faint whimpering perhaps coming from the other side of the door. But like not right on the other side of the door, maybe like farther back in the room.
What kind of...
It sounds like someone who's attempting to silently cry, but is failing at it.
Oh boy, okay. Well, this should be horrifying. I think Jericho's invisibility probably wears off as he rushes back to find the others. And, because he has certain appearances to maintain, he'll start with, Farron, hadn't, didn't we? Morella, there's a barricade over here that could use a bit of direct influence. Daniela, if you have the time, if you're not too busy with... He gestures at the assembled
Gaggle?
Civilians, yeah.
I think Daniela looks to you, Aelin.
Yes, I'm quite all right. Go if there's something else to do.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
Someone's barricaded themselves into a locked room, and I'm not certain who it is, but I am very suspicious that there's more going on in there than I would like.
Very well.
Are you slapping me?
Most definitely.
You do that thing where you pinch him on the back of the arm?
Yeah.
Really hard, yeah.
But
I had your back. Ow.
Aww.
yes, obviously, as you ran around the corner with your invisibility.
First of all, I don't think you know where I ran. Secondly, I was still assisting you. Look, it's not something... That isn't magic that I know how to share, tragically. I'm not even sure it's possible. But look, I think it turned out well, don't you? We're all standing, they're not. That's sort of the ideal.
Yes, but I don't believe just being abandoned is the best way to achieve such a goal.
Look, you felt abandoned. That's not quite the same thing. Anyway, looks like we've got someone to unlock or unbar, or I'm not sure.
So question, George. This is
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah, correct. This one right here.
Can you describe the door for me again?
So it's a thick wooden door. It's steel banded. It appears to have a bar lock on the other side, and I assume Jericho has told you that it's barricaded as well with a couple of heavy objects behind it. It opens inward, obviously.
Yeah. So I kind of look at the door and look at the Danielle. Shall we?
Yeah, and I think she shrugs and she's like, on 3.
Now, question.
Mhm.
I'm assuming I'm going to have advantage with whatever role that I'm going, because she's essentially helping
Yeah,
me.
correct.
Okay. What
gonna-
role would you like me to?
It's gonna be athletics.
Okay. All right. So rolling with that.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily whether or not you're going to do it. It's whether or not how many it's going to take you to do it.
All right. So here we go.
24 is pretty good. So I think the first, you slam into it, and you hear the door frame crack kind of underneath your weight, and Daniela slams into it as well, and you hear the bar snap behind it, and you push it open just a little bit, and there's no light inside of the room. And you don't get the door fully open because it's barricaded by a bunch of different things, but you're able to open it enough where there's probably maybe a 6-inch gap between where the door opens and where it doesn't. And I will draw that. You can see kind of inside the room now a little bit. And if you move around, I can just alter character. You see that there's a figure sitting against the wall back here, in the darkness, and you can see you can't get a good image of what it may be, but it's kind of sitting on the bed or behind on the other side of the bed, holding something out kind of in a defensive posture backed up in the corner of the room. And then you want to slam on it again, I assume?
Yeah.
Open it up fully? Okay. And then you absolutely are able to open it up fully and get the full layout of the room in its entirety. And as you enter, you can see that there is appears to be perhaps it's a male form, probably in the late teens, maybe 17, 18 years old. And this boy is covered in what looks to be a wasting or a pox disease of some sort. Has pockmarks kind of all over his face and his arms. You can see tufts or patches of hair that have fallen out or gone gray or white on top of his head. You can see that he is wearing an eye patch, so that only one eye is exposed. And he's kind of brandishing what looks to be like a large walking stick or something, kind of out towards you. And he says, "Don't come any closer."
Why not, young man?
Well, I'm gonna guess it's because he's terrified.
Yeah, and he goes, because I'll kill you.
Okay, that's definitely not gonna work for you. Princess, if you don't mind, can I just squeeze through?
He looks ill.
Yeah, I'm a doctor, remember?
Oh God! I
Yeah,
forgot
and
that.
she just gives you the blank expression, really?
Oh my God!
Why?
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
And she just simply
I
says,
mean,
if you can help him, by all means,
well, it's
do
worth a
so.
shot. Out of curiosity, are you intending for us to go raiding anywhere else tonight? Because I'd like to cast my vote in favor of not doing that.
She kind of looks at the others and seeing how badly beaten.
Yeah, everybody's pretty tapped out at this point.
I'm not completely tapped out. I could still keep going, but it'd be a bad idea.
Without your support crew, it would be a bad idea. Yes.
That's what tapped out means. I'm at full health, but spells are kind of what matter.
Yeah. Full health doesn't mean a whole lot when I can hit for like 30 something.
But anyways, she just says, "Well, we are still unsure where Hannibal is, and I'm sure we're going to have to find him."
Well, he was with those Kislavite ladies, right? I'm sure they're fine.
We get a slash cut image of Hannibal like surfing while the spear maidens are pushing him around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she just says,
Shooting beams all over the place. Pow, 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 pow.
Totally.
"It will take time to most likely find him. So, regrouping."
Yeah, and probably not here, since word of our raid is likely to spread pretty quickly. Look, kid, I'm pretty sure you look like you're in rough condition. I can probably help with that. With
Yeah.
the hair and the horrifying, disfiguring disease.
Yeah, and he kind of like he looks at you confused, and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm more beautiful than you could ever be."
Okay, interesting. Sorry, possibly I'm confused. Who are you?
Don't you recognize me, cretin?
Not at the moment. No, can't say I do.
I'm-
Have we met?
And you can see like having a crisis of character, and kind of like looks down at his own hands, and I think maybe it's the first time that you realize that like kind of like turns his hand over and sees like the nasty pock marks and stuff all up his skin, and he goes, no, I can't. Why? And you see him, he's like looking up and around, and he starts screaming, where are you? Where did you go? And has seemingly begun ignoring you.
Awkward. All right.
Jericho,
Yes.
where has the one known as Garuda went?
Well, I thought I was following her.
And
The little boy says, "Do you know where she went? Where did she go?"
Right. So you knew her, is what I'm hearing here.
Knew?
That doesn't make any.
I am her, and she is me.
Okay. Fair enough. Different.
Bow drawn.
Jericho looks to the others. Anyone have any idea what the hell is going on?
perhaps she has possessed him. Demons are known to do that.
Well, sure, okay. So he got to be that, which apparently that was, actually something he was looking for in life.
I am unsure.
Well, okay, hang on, kid. Sorry, what's your name? Should I be calling you Garulda?
Yes, of course, that's my name.
Okay, fantastic. And you say you are her, but you also asked where she went.
It's hard to explain to people like you. You don't understand it.
Well, not yet, but, give me a try. I'm actually very smart. I can roll deception if you want.
I don't think you need to in this instance. I think he says, he kind of like points to his chest, and he goes, "It's here. Both of us. But just me. I don't know why she hides. She'll come back, though, and she'll get you."
Looks to Daniela. Sorry, what's your title? Dame? Lady? you can detect demonic forces, can't you?
Yeah, I think she kind of like nods and she enters into the room. And when she does, she's still got like her greatsword out. And the boy like brings up his walking stick again.
Okay, deadly weapons away, please.
Yeah, and I think Daniela kind of like looks around, and she like makes a point of like grabbing a cloth off the ground and like slowly cleaning it off while she's watching him. And she like cleans off her blade, and then she very slowly slides it back into the scabbard. And she walks over to the edge of the bed here, and again he's like holding up his walking stick. And she goes, "You won't feel anything, I promise." And you can see she kind of holds out a hand, and she begins saying a prayer. And he's kind of like looking around. He's like, What are you doing? What's going on? What is it?" And Daniela like whispers a few things, and then you see her face kind of contort a little bit. She drops her hand. She turns and she goes, "There is something there. This boy is not clean, at least of demons. Although whatever it is, I can't identify. It is deeply rooted within his being."
Right. Okay. Looking to Morella here. If you don't mind, I feel like this is an area where... Never mind.
What did you have in mind?
We haven't... I think... Sorry, Garulda. I think we have probably the only expert who might have the slightest idea where she's hiding or why she's hiding. So, would you like to come with us and we can find her?
And I think for a moment, you see like he kind of lowers the stick and he's like, "Oh, you want to help? No, she's. I'm not to trust anyone. It's not in charge. Who are you?"
In charge of what now?
Armies, forces, the other creatures. Are you in charge of them?
Well, I mean, I don't like to brag, but Jericho is still holding, I think, in his other hand, and he brandishes now the dragon staff.
Yeah, totally.
That's, I mean, I'm not really supposed to just let this... The point is, we clearly have some interests in common, and there's been some kind of confusion. So if you could come with us, we'll talk to our... his name is Demon, I think. One of his names.
Roll a deception check. I'll make the DC easier though because you have an actual physical object that would be identifiable. Jesus.
Jesus.
Well,
I think
Yeah.
he passes.
So I think you see the kid, he like puts down the walking stick and he kind of is like, oh yes, of course. Why didn't you just say so in the first place? Why did you send these peasants in to speak with me? Come on, let's go find her.
Fantastic. And then whispers to Morella, as tempting as it is, don't kill him.
I do not wish to kill the boy if I don't have to.
Fantastic. Well then. Where did Solomon go? Does anyone have any idea?
No. As we remember, I asked this before, and no one knew.
I was just hoping maybe it had slipped someone's mind. How's he going to find us then? I suppose he's just going to return back to the... Oh, that's not a good place to take this guy. You don't want to be around peasants, do you, Garulda? No, didn't think so. So we're going to need somewhere else to be that isn't here.
I mean, like, the deal is, you don't think it's going to be a problem overpowering this boy as he gets out here. Like, you could just hit him over the head and
Yeah,
take
I
him
also
back.
just don't want Gerulda remanifesting in the middle of, people hiding in any of our, hiding places.
But that's also a good point.
Wait, didn't you have a house here, Jellicoe?
Well, it had, yes. Bit of a trek. People living there. Be a bit rude of me just to say I'm back and I brought a dozen of my close friends covered in blood.
Also, living is an operative term here.
I'm sure we could find a
I agree. Yes, we're going to need somewhere
mislocated-
else.
yes. I'm sure I could
Fantastic.
find
Well
an
then,
empty house for us to reside in.
I'll.
Maybe
Yes. Good
we
point.
can send Farron
Gerulda?
to find Hannibal.
Yeah. I'm going to suggest the rest of you head back to shelter. Gerulda and I will go somewhere more appropriate while this entire business with who exactly is in charge here and what's gone wrong with the chain of command and why you've got monsters fighting monsters in the streets. And I guess none of them were actually there for the very, very beginning, so Jericho will give them an address or how to find his hovel
Mm-hmm.
and say, once you've got Hannibal, bring him to us. I'm certain he'll be excited about the opportunity.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and when you say opportunity, Morello just looks. Oh yes, he is going to be thrilled about this.
Yeah, and so that's probably an appropriate scene to take it back to Hannibal. So Hannibal, what are you doing, sir? Your levitate has worn off at this point.
I'm applying a poultice to Kira.
Yeah, Kira and Malia are like bandaging themselves and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, if you wanna help them out with that for sure.
Yeah, I'll poultice Malia or Kira.
Okay, yeah. It's 2d6, right? What I said.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. I don't know.
Pretty sure it's 2d6. Cool, awesome. So yeah, she thanks you greatly, and then I think Malia probably says, she's like, Hannibal, what are we to do here? What are we here to obtain?
We're not. We'll see if there's anything worth stealing. However, the main plan is to burn this town.
I think she gives kind of a grim, but like, not grim. She gives a mischievous smile, and she says, I will see if there's anything of use to help with that.
I'm gonna go check out the back room. If anybody comes through that door, yell.
Yeah, and I think Kira says, don't worry, I'll check it out. I'll be able to give him my call. Malia will know what to look for.
Got it. So I head back here
Mhm.
to this room he was trying to get to. And do I see him?
Yeah, so you see his broken and contorted body over here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He appears very dead, though.
I'd like to examine him for just a moment.
Okay, what are you looking for?
I want to take a look at just basically, maybe take my dagger out, do a quick cut open, see if his internals are the same as the regular humans.
Sure, make a medicine check.
I know it seems grim, but this is exactly what Hannibal would do.
We're aware, we've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can't tell any unique differences between them, except for obviously the tail, right? Like that's the only anatomical difference that you can tell. Obviously the facial features as well and the claws. But as far as internals, it looks roughly human. There's only one heart and 2 lungs and.
Just real quick, or would this be? Does he look mutated or added on to?
It looks like the augments are surface level. You know, some of the muscular structures might be different, but to be fair, you know, a human who had extensive training themselves could probably achieve this level of agility.
So, like, to me, this would just seem like this is a shortcut surgery.
Yeah, it seems. I think that it seems. It's not. No, it's not a surgery. It
Or
looks like
whatever.
the hair does indeed like the skin and hair does grow, naturally, or quote unquote naturally. But yeah,
All right. So
it is.
I see
How about
slowly-
this? It is more likely that it is a mutated human as opposed to a mutated cat. I'll put it that. I'll put it
helps
that
a
way.
lot.
Yeah.
That actually does answer one of my other questions.
Yes.
So I'm looking around. Is there anything that looks like a work table as I begin to head upstairs?
All of these desks are exactly as you see them. Like they're actual desks.
Okay, I head upstairs.
Okay. I don't have a map for upstairs, but upstairs is essentially just some living quarters. You can see that there's like a large bed upstairs. It's kind of like an attic space, so it's got like the A-frame or the framing for the roof. Kind of narrows the room a little bit, and there's like a large bed with a window that looks outward. There's probably like a small like dining table, maybe like a wood burning stove with a chimney that goes straight up and out. All in all, very kind of.
Does it look like a nice homely room?
Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm gonna search it for shit.
Okay. Roll an investigation check for me.
Tied to chaos.
Sure. 16's not bad. You probably find some. Like books. They look like fiction. They appear to be along the lines of. And I'm going to use this term, and this is probably the only time this will ever come up ever. They appear to be orcish smut novels.
Oh, take notes.
Okay. But
How
overall,
many of them?
nothing really that interesting.
All right. How many of them are there, and how much do they weigh? I need to know.
I mean, there's probably like, well, I mean, there's one trilogy, and then there's a couple of single books, so maybe like 5 all in all.
Got it. I'm taking them.
Okay.
So I take those,
Mhm.
and then I head out. It doesn't look like there's any place for like these experiments, though, does it? Oh shit! Wait. I head downstairs, and then I head over here. I just remembered something.
Mm-hmm.
He came from this grate.
Yeah, so the amorphous blob guy came from this grate. Kind of appeared up out of this grate.
Were there any other doors along the way?
I mean, so maybe you can't see it on the map so well. I'll show you.
Okay.
So you see there are 2 doors here, these little white patches.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And actually, to be fair, it should be clear. This one is open. Those 2 are open. This one is open. This is where one of the creatures came running out of. This one appears to be closed, but these look like prison doors, right? So they're like wooden doors, and then they have a little like viewport with bars over it on the top, like at eye level. If you look in here, you can see that there appears to be a deceased creature. It looks like maybe the size of a large chicken or small dog. It appears to be kind of bird-like in nature. You can see it's got like wings and a beak, but it appears to be dead, and you can see kind of flies flying all around. It looks like it might have been dead for a while.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll go to that grate.
Mm-hmm.
That he appeared from.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm also gonna move over here. There is a grate right here too.
Oh shit. Okay.
Just
In
FYI.
that case, I'll open that one.
Okay, so yeah, when you walk up to this grate, I'll use your 16 investigation still. When you walk up to this grate, you can see that there is a slight slime trail that leads over here. Ignore this crap because it's just on the map, but there's a slight slime trail that leads up to here, and then ends at the grate. Doesn't go any
Is it
further.
the same kind of slime that thing was made out of?
Yeah, it's absolutely that.
I'd like to open up the grate. Can I do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you pry it open and kind of wedge it to the side. And you can see it drops down into a small, like, kind of tunnel, and you can see down at the bottom there appears to be a lot of small animal carcasses. It looks to be kind of like a dumping ground, maybe, for rats or test subjects or whatever.
Oh, I see one more door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's another door that's open right here. And then
right
there's
here.
this door right here that's closed.
To open this door.
Yeah, you can absolutely open that door. So when you open this door, you can see that there's a bunch of storage stuff. There's a couple of crates in there. Not dissimilar to many of the other locations as well.
Kira, Malia.
Yeah, I think Malia appears because Kira's still watching the door, so Malia arrives.
I don't really find anything useful, I say as I hide the orcish novels behind my back.
Yeah,
Burn this place down.
Well, let me roll for Malia. Let's see if she found anything useful.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. NPCs.
I have her. Investigation.
Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation for her. Nice, not bad. Yeah, I think she comes back and she's got like a small keg, and she's like, this appears to be lamp oil. I think it will be most useful.
Fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, and so I think she starts making a trail behind you as you guys are walking out of all the lamp oil, and she's like dousing the barrels that are in here, and you know, all that other fun stuff, all the work tables and stuff. She's dousing with the oil that she can, and you know, all the areas she douses with oil that she can until she leads a trail kind of out to the front doors.
Mm-hmm. And then so I stand there outside, take a deep breath. And it's a beautiful night.
Yeah, and I think
at another house.
Yep. And I think that there's that moment. So you guys have all seen The Dark Knight, right? Where Heath Ledger, rest in peace, is pushing the button to blow the thing up, and it's just like not working. And we see Hannibal like light the torch to the oil, and the oil kind of goes in, and him and Kira and Malia are kind of just like standing there, and like a minute passes, 2 minutes pass. You just kind of like looking at each other like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you hear a as like something ignites in the back rooms, and then like you all kind of duck down and scamper off into the night away from the house.
I had fun, and it should be noted that for Kira and Malia's sake, they hear Hannibal laughing a little bit.
I think they are laughing too, but it's kind of like that, not nervous laughing, but that kind of like when you're a little bit scared and you're kind of, you know, laughing.
Relieved.
Yeah, exactly.
Hannibal's doing the like he thought that was hilarious laugh.
Yeah. They are.
This time it was on purpose, guys.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's thunder.
So time to
don't
head
worry.
back. Let's
Yeah.
head back to where we're all supposed to go.
So back here, I assume the group of you marches out. Jericho, you march out with Garulda / this boy, whoever he is. Aelin, what about you as you're sitting out here? Some of the townsfolk are coming more too, and they're like kind of worriedly looking around because remember they've been entranced this whole time, and everybody's a bit confused. And they see you, and I think they begin, you know, like kind of not pestering you with questions, obviously, but like, what's going on? Like, who are you? What are you doing here? Because you're the like distinctly recognizable not one of them standing here.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would answer their questions as best I could without trying to scare them too much. But I think my main goal would be to gather as many of them together and to tell them all the entrances to the underground, and hopefully lead as many of them to safety as I can on our way out. That's my goal.
Yeah, and so I think that, well, actually, roll me a persuasion check. Because there are some that are willing to do that, there are some that are not, and there are some that need to believe you before they'll do anything. Yeah. 17 is good enough. So you convince the majority of them to either go with you when, you know, they're like, okay, you know, we're not so certain where that is. We need you to lead us. There are a couple that are like, I need to find my wife. I need to find my kids. Like, which I
would
can't.
totally understand, and just say, well, once you find them, like, here's where to go.
Right.
That sort of thing. I wouldn't force anybody to go with us who doesn't obviously want to, who wants to try to find their family. Although I would advise them that probably won't happen, but obviously I would never stop somebody from trying to find their
and I think there are quite a few that are going to do that, but the majority of the people here are either going to make their own way there because they don't want to, like, they're just waiting here at this point. They're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get some things and then go now. Like, I can't wait for you. And then a couple are too scared to, I think, leave and are going to stand by with you until. And I would
obviously tell them my name and who to tell when they get there, so they know that they're trustworthy and everything.
Right. So Jericho, as I understand it, Jericho, you're gonna take this child to a location, a safe house somewhere.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like if Jericho's been inside the city before now, he probably would have just gone to check up on what the state of his house was and the people that he was subletting to.
Yeah, let's see here. What's going on with those people?
Roll some death saves.
Yeah, so I think that as described, the Wind and the Southgate Oswald district are pretty low population as far as living subjects go. So if anyone was going to hide out, it's probably a decent place to do it because there are less intelligent patrols through the area. The disadvantage is there is also less law and order as much as could be expected in that area of the city. And so, like, roving bands of ghouls might be a legitimate thing that happen there that need to be avoided and or addressed. So I think that your hovel is probably empty, probably abandoned, either because the people you were subletting to or renting to are dead, are now some of the undead, or have evacuated the city, or maybe they've become like servants to somewhere else so they don't have to stay in this dangerous part of town. So I think that's the risk you run, right? Like, doing this is great, and you'll probably not have to deal with, a whole lot of, you'll definitely won't have to deal with a whole lot of like Norseman patrols. But, the occasional like zombie that maybe isn't under direct control is kind of just wandering the streets and then smells food, right? Like, that's a real concern with that part of the city, which is probably why a lot of people don't live there. So your hovel itself is probably free to use, with all of those concerns in mind.
This fair number of concerns.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if anything better would come to mind.
Beyond going back into the underground, probably.
Yeah, that sounds like it's asking for trouble as well. So, yeah, I mean, I gave them the address. That's the best place. That's where they will expect me to be, unless something else comes up. I'm sure the occasional roving undead won't be too much of a problem. Also, once we are away from the others, Jericho will shrug his cloak up and put on the guise of someone, I think, a little more appropriate to be wielding this dragon bone staff.
Yeah.
Someone older, gaunter, grimmer.
Yeah.
A little more necromancer vibe is what he's going for there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I definitely think that that's a great disguise for this particular moment. Because remember, there is still a bit of chaos in the streets right now. People aren't really sure what's going on. It also appears to you, Jericho, as you kind of are leaving and kind of walking through the streets, you hear the sound of maybe not combat, but maybe like skirmishes, maybe a couple of distant blocks off, and maybe you like occasionally divert away from the sounds of that. It looks like you weren't the only ones that had the idea, hey, there's some turmoil in the city. Now's a good time to cause some problems. Because remember, there are hundreds of different resistance cells throughout the city that probably took advantage of the chaos to cause their own chaos.
Good for them.
They're very proactive people. So I think that you know, perhaps puts a smile on your face. Your city is fighting back. And I think that eventually you do make it through, make it down into that district area. But one thing that I do want to have you roll is, can you roll me a survival check, please?
Survival.
Yeah. This is to simply avoid anything nasty or dastardly along your path here. Yeah, 16's pretty good. So I think that there's probably a point like where you round a corner and you can see there are like a couple of like zombies like bent over something, like a mound of something on the ground, kind of eating at it, and you're able to like kind of pull them back. And I think Garulda probably says, "Why are we stopping? Shouldn't we just go?"
What am I pulling them off of?
So there's like a group of zombies along your path that
Yeah.
were in the way, and you kind of like drug him back so you didn't get spotted.
Oh, okay. So he's asking why I saved him from the ravening undead.
Right, yeah. He just assumes that he or you are in charge, and why are we stopping, right?
Yeah. Some wild things aren't worth controlling.
And he's like, oh, okay. I get it. And so you divert around that location.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And eventually make it over to the hovel where you can see, luckily the door is still intact. And as you enter in, you get a kind of a puff of dust kind of flies up, and I think Garulda like coughs a few times. And he kind of like looks around and he goes, what are we doing here?
We're waiting in a place that is far more than it seems for someone who will know where to find Garulda now that she's inexplicably decided to abandon us at such a key time.
Well, fine,
What
but
was the contract she made with you anyway?
contract? Wasn't a contract. We just had an agreement. I got to have my fun and she got to have hers.
Bit vague wording. You weren't warned about what kinds of agreements to make with creatures such as her?
To be fair, I was getting the better end of the deal. Most of the time I was in control anyway.
Interesting. And when you weren't?
Well, only time in recent memory was a few moments before you all arrived. I woke up to the sound of fighting outside, and I decided it was probably best if I barred the door, and I knew Clarence would take care of it. He's always been good.
I'm just taking a moment to get over Clarence. Right. Well, nothing to do now but wait and try not to attract the attention of anything wandering by. They may not dare face me, but they'll soon chew on you as anything. Is he still looking horribly diseased?
Yeah, he sure is. And I think that I actually roll me a medicine check. Not that you've like inspected him yet, but just throughout your
Been hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? The only thing I could describe it as, it is possible that he has some form of medieval leprosy, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't appear like it is contagious of any sort. But it does seem like it is one of those kind of uncurable outside of multiple rounds of high-level magic or treatments. And also
High-level magic, you say?
Yeah, and also I think that what you can determine, and by his mannerisms as well, he is a Middenheimer for sure. Lowborn.
Well, aren't we all? And okay, so would I be able to then try to infer anything about his probable background? Like, if this isn't a contagious condition that he's got, is this just a thing that afflicts some people in the city? Is there like a source to it that we know of?
Roll a history check for me.
The 1 week I don't have inspiration, and suddenly I'm rolling everything.
So you know that disease is not completely eradicated in the Warhammer universe, right? Like,
Obviously.
sometimes magic just doesn't work on certain diseases, for whatever reason, or one is just not privileged enough to receive that type of treatment, and that kind of seems like what this might be. In your regard, there are diseases like leprosy or versions of the pox, right, that can afflict particularly lowborn, unclean, lesser, in the scope of this society, lesser humans and dwarves and halflings, and everyone basically is affected a little bit differently. But this seems like something that, and I think that you can see some scarring as well, where this has kind of probably been this boy has been affected his whole life by this disease, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And has gone untreated. It doesn't appear to affect like his mobility or the way he interacts or the way he moves or anything like that.
So it's probably just something that it's like a congenital condition, not something that he contracted later in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I imagine our understanding of genetic medicine is probably pretty weak.
Yeah, it's real low. In fact, the ones who know the most about it, believe it or not, are usually the orcs.
Aren't they like mushrooms?
Yep, that is exactly correct. They are technically mushrooms.
So many questions about that. Anyway, probably don't have any of them on hand. I don't realize what
Hannibal's doing. Yeah,
the doctor is.
Right.
But regardless, yeah, okay. If I don't think that lesser restoration is going to do anything, then that's my resources tapped for the day. So
yeah, I think you could
just
safely
advise him to sit and wait and try not to attract attention, and eventually our expert will arrive.
Yeah, you could reasonably say that a lesser restoration is not going to help him here. It would take something more, or like, a week of treatment with lesser restoration maybe might do something, but obviously that's unacceptable at this point.
Not great at this moment now.
Fire.
Nice fire. So
It's spread.
for the rest of you that were leaving the bar, your intent was to go back down to lead these people, or at least Aylin's intent was to lead these people back down into the underground, right? To get them back to their relative safety.
Yep.
That was Aylin's plan. I didn't know anyone else was going to back me up, but
Yeah, I mean, obviously Daniela would. So for the group of you that's doing that, Farron, I assume you go with that as well.
Certainly in that direction, yes.
Okay. So you all head over to the closest available entrance where you came in, and you head down, and probably as you're traveling, and you have a troop of perhaps 20 people behind you. But as you're traveling, Daniela probably like grabs your arm at some point, Aylin, and kind of like in hushed whispers, says, "I tried to prevent them from interacting, at least with you, and it appeared again, but more formed this time. Who do you think she is?"
I still don't know. The only thing that I recall hearing is someone very loudly in my head saying that I will pay. Swear it by Lady of the Lake. That is who I assume it to be. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, and I think she kind of like looks at you for a moment and says, "You're still blacking out when it happens. No recollection of it."
Yes, it's almost as if I wasn't there at all. Sorry, I had to.
I was thinking about flaws. Inspiration.
She says to you, she gets a troubled look on her face, but she says, "Well, It was quite glorious at the very least, but I do not like it when it is not you behind, well, the actions.
I'd like for you to tell me further what I did exactly, but not now. Possibly later. Is that okay with you?
I think she looks at like the back of Farron's head as he's walking in front of you guys, and she says, "Oh, I think there will be plenty of stories."
Sigh.
Fire.
Dark smoke rises over the Ostwald district. A disturbance in the force.
It's almost as if we know another house is burning somewhere.
Fire. Yep.
My mother under my breath. Damn, Hannibal.
Yeah, I think I'll probably actually say something as we get close. I'm at least 80% sure I know who the cause of those flames were.
Yeah.
Fire. There's a fire burning.
No, you're like 99.9.
Yep.
Well, now that we can hear the singing.
I just want to set the world on fire.
So eventually, the group of you gets the villagers back to the encampment. And remember, it is again the dead of night, but there are quite a few people up right now because of all the hubbub of the rumbling of the city and all that other crazy shit that went down.